Welcome to our weekly podcast, Real Talk with Chris and Ross. We are designed for entrepreneurs and forward thinkers. We also care very heavily around the real estate industry as a whole, bringing you hot topics and up-to-date content with a lot of amazing special guest speakers along the way. So sit back, buckle your seatbelt, and get ready for the best hour of your day. Hey, everybody. We're excited in the house. Real Talk with Chris and Ross. We are episode 39. Oh my God, we're almost going to hit 40. Ross. We're almost going to hit 40. Super excited. Been doing this for a while. And it's just progressively gotten better and better. And every week we have amazing guest speakers on this show. For those that are joining us for the first time, welcome to Chris and Ross. And for those who are here regularly, we appreciate you always. We hope we continue to bring value to you guys and bring in amazing guest speakers. So this week doesn't change. We always have amazing people. My amazing friend, Joseph Satariano. I guess it right. Satariano. I gotta shake the hand. So if you're listening to the podcast, you're not gonna see me use my hand. And if you're watching, it's Satariano. So, anyways, Joseph, good friend of mine I've known from the Roseville, California area, or Sacramento, California area. Again, for those that don't know, that's kind of Central Valley, right? Northern Central California, right to Sacramento. Anyways, I've known Joseph for quite some time, for years, honestly, in the business that we've known each other. Always been in the same neighborhoods, kind of selling real estate. But Joseph, thank you so much. My other co-hostess with the mostest, always here too, Ross in the third. What's up, brother? How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. You know, I'm excited to hear Joseph's story here and to connect on our weekly podcast, man. It just doesn't get better than this, man. Connection, growth, collaboration. I mean, we do it all here.
I know. I love it. I actually look forward to these things. This is like my downtime, but it's my time to reflect. And I love this because we always get great speakers. And I love doing this little kind of energy right here where we're talking back and forth, we're masterminding and sharing ideas, and then adding value to people obviously that are listening to this. So without further ado, let's jump in. Joseph, thank you for joining us today, my friend. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. I'm blessed and highly favored, my friend.
I love your
happy to be here. Happy to be a guest. And Ross, great to meet you. Chris, it's always awesome to spend time with you, man. Even though now that you're in Hawaii, you know.
Oh man, I know, right? We're like 3,000 miles apart, but I still love you.
I'm in Northern California. You're in Hawaii. It's not fair.
But it just means you to come out and visit, bro. That's what it always means. You to come out and visit.
Hey, don't ask me twice.
Awesome. Well, Joseph, obviously, again, we've kind of mentioned already you're from the Sacramento area. Let's start off by just kind of introducing yourself, kind of giving the guest out there kind of a layout of who you are, kind of how you got started and your beginnings kind of thing.
Okay. Beginning. So let's see what I'm 49. I'm married to the love of my life. I got 2 kids, 2 boys. They drive me absolutely crazy. You know, I try to bang their heads together equally so that way they don't think I'm playing favorite with either one. Love being a dad, love being a husband. I'm a man of God. I really believe that the Lord gives me wisdom every day to share with people. Both on I do a lot of coaching and speaking and training. I come from a background of retail. I was with Nordstrom's department stores for many, many years and transitioned into real estate, and it's just been kind of my sweet spot. I've done a lot of training nationally. I've written some trainings, audiobooks, and I've written actually also a couple books for consumer facing people that want to buy and sell real estate. Let's see what else. I don't know what else to say. You know, I'm a family guy. You know, I like to stay out of trouble. You know
what's so awesome, Joseph, is I hear you say that. You just gave us a rap sheet, which like most people, if they just achieved one of those things, would be like really excited and be like, man, this is what I'm doing. But you're like, yeah, that's about it. That's all I got. I mean, that's a lot to be proud of, man.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks, buddy. It's just, I really believe that every day there's something that you can expect to get every single day. And I'm just getting started, man. I'm 49 years young. I got another 50 years to go, and I got millions of lives to touch with what God has given me. So I'm just fired up, guys. I'm excited. This is how I am all the time. People think I drink a lot of caffeine. No, I'm like this all the time. 4:30 in the morning till now. I'm just excited. You know what I mean? So
I love it. And he's also very humble, people. That's what I love about Joey. Again, I just have known Joey, interface with him right locally within the Sacramento, Placer County area in real estate. We've always kind of rubbed shoulders. And for a long time, we both were at Keller Williams together back in the day. And both kind of service real estate in that sense. Let's go back then real quick here. Obviously, childhood, born and raised in the Sacramento area. Where's your story?
Yeah, I was born and raised in San Jose.
Okay.
Born and raised in San Jose, and I was going to stay there, the entire time. And my folks moved up here, and my grandmother was ill at the time, and my Sicilian father said, "Hey, I want you to move up to Sacramento, spend some time with your grandmother. First, she's got a few more years left." And I did that. And before you know it, I came up here and I was like, man, I like it out here. So I'm here ever since. That was back in 99.
Yeah.
So,
Dang, long time. And so your family background then was San Jose, migrated a little bit here to Sacramento. And then I'd love to go back to talk about that background of you in Nordstrom's. I don't know if people who know, obviously people will listen to this podcast from all over the country. Maybe they don't know Nordstrom's. I don't know. Maybe they do. I feel like Nordstrom's is like Walmart and Target, right? It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah.
But what's unique about Nordstrom's, for those who don't know, I think it's actually been notated as, I think, one of the best customer service rated industry type retail store environments. Yes. Right? They're amazing. Their coaching, their training systems, their modules, their standard of exceptional service is up there. What was that like at Nordstrom's, man?
It was incredible. Honestly, I started with them as I was 16. I was a dishwasher in in the cafe there at the time. And then I became a manager like 3 years later. And then I started doing I managed their credit department. I was assistant manager for the store. And then I became a new hire trainer. I did all their training. They wanted me to teach how to use the registers. So I figured out how to do that in a 2-hour period. And I developed my own sales training program for the whole company.
Wow.
So it's just, buddy, I would have been there. If they would have figured out how to pay me more money, I would have stayed, because it was just, honestly, it was a dream job. I really enjoyed it. And the culture was, it was all about taking care of the people. And when the company was losing money, they used to tell us, give more away. I'm not kidding you. Give more away. Give more to your customer. And that was really what they believed. They believed that, you got to take care of the customer one at a time. If there was any kind of disputes that happened, like on the sales floor, they would say, just give them their money back. Because we didn't want any of those disputes or any of that stuff to affect the people that were actually spending money in the store, And it was incredible. It was one of the best, I would say, one of the best educations I could for retail. Because, I've been in real estate now for 21 years, and I got to say that I mastered the ability to have difficult conversations with Nordstrom's. People would walk in and be unhappy, and they leave happier than they came. Wow. And that's, how it is in real estate. It's a list. If you want to be a top performer in real estate or in business, you need to know how to have a difficult conversation.
Yeah.
I think the masses do not know how to do that. So I learned how to do that. I learned how to listen. I learned how to help people, whether they were a blue collar worker, working on a ranch, or whether they were an executive coming in to return an $800, Dana Buckman suit or Hickey Freeman men's suit. You just knew how to do it. You know how to help out everybody, but it was a great background. So.
That's cool. Now, at what period? So you said you've been in real estate for 21 years. Now, you were with Nordstrom's before. Did you have like an eye-opening experience where it was like, hey, real estate's this option? Did you know a friend in the business? Was there somebody that was maybe coaching, mentoring you? What did you see in real estate at the time that made you make the jump?
Buddy, honestly, I'm a man of faith, and it was in divine order for me from the very beginning. True story. Okay. I was on the way to high school one day, and I told my dad next to me that I want to get into real estate, because I saw the word landlord in my mind. I realized we see pictures, right? I just believe that. Okay.
Yep.
And I want to get into real estate. And my Sicilian father was like, you're not going to do that. You're just trying to shortcut your way and not go to college. Literally, that's what he told me. So I benched it for a while. And then after being at Nordstrom's for a long time, I decided that I was going to, maybe look into it. So I had the book next to me at the customer service counter, the real estate principal books. Somebody called me on the phone, and Her name was Mim Nannery. She was a 92-year-old lady that wanted to order a gift certificate, right? And I was like, man, we hated those things because they would take us like a half hour to do them, and they were just a pain. So we would dodge each other. We put them on hold. We would try to give these gift certificate orders to other people in our department. No joke. So anyways, I made some mistakes. I fumbled over it. And she says, son, you seem like a really nice kid. Have you ever thought about real estate? The book was next to me at the time, Ross. And I was like, that's really weird. So that was some confirmation that I was going down the right road. She became a personal friend of mine. Matter of fact, I'm going to share one of my biggest failures in real estate. Matter of fact, her daughter was Clint Eastwood's personal real estate agent.
Wow.
No joke.
Wow.
So she ended up mentoring me. The old lady ended up mentoring me. She was in Broadway. She was Broadway actress at one time. She lived in Peabody, Massachusetts. She gave me her daughter's number, but here's the failure. My opinion that I had of myself was so bad, so low, that I didn't even take it up on the opportunity of calling her daughter. Do you know where my real estate career would have went, Ross? If I would have picked the phone and called, I probably would be in Monterey and Pebble Beach, because that's where he was at the time. And I probably would have met Clint Eastwood. I probably would have got into the circuit of some with celebrities, movie stars, if I would have made that call, right? But one of my biggest failures is just my opinion. So if for anybody that's watching, you know what? Sometimes the no that you say can cost you a lot. So, but yeah. So then I ended up doing that. What's that? Did you say something?
I was gonna say though too, just out of curiosity, you hear about those stories of the people that they're on the gold rush. They came 3 feet from gold, left back, and then the guy comes in, boom, there's all the gold, and they look back at that experience and go, man, I'm not gonna give up next time. I am gonna make that call.
Yeah.
I am gonna make an effort. Do you think that experience though of not making that call has maybe helped you never let go of an opportunity today?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Ross, I've shared that in front of thousands of agents because I believe that if I share my successes, I will impress you. If I share my failures, I will press upon you. You know what I mean? That the failures are just part of the process. But that's still something that, guys, most people do have a very low self-esteem. You know that, right? Inferiority complexes. But it was the opinion I had of myself that kept me from going down what I think would have been a great path. But yeah, it's those are kind of the things that you use on to keep moving forward. So after that, I got into real estate. I struggled in the business tremendously my first year. Tremendously. I left Nordstrom's department stores. I got in it, and I couldn't get a sale. It took me almost a year to get a sale.
Wow.
And
now, out of curiosity too, Joseph, hearing that, right, I ultimately think like, man, like I would be in my head too if I didn't make that call. And then, I hear you say like, I didn't have that belief, whether in myself or the things, you had said that you looked at yourself in a way. Right now, how did you change that look that you now, obviously I see you now, Joseph, you're beaming with light, you're confident, you got audiobooks, trainings, you've been in the business for all these years. How did you overcome that, limited self-talk over yourself in that period to where you are now?
Yeah, honestly, it's been my faith life. I mean, the Lord is truly my companion, Ross. I got to tell you, he puts me in rooms that sometimes I wonder how I got in there. You know what I mean? But I just kept plugging away. I started doing a lot of reading and personal growth, got a hold of John Maxwell, Zig Ziglar, started consuming, bombarding my mind with brilliance. And the opinion I had of myself began to change. I just began to think differently of myself. I started looking around, realizing the people around me, I had nothing in common. I never forget reading this book called An Enemy Called Average by John Mason. And John had what I call a freedom moment, because you're part of the team freedom. So let's talk about freedom moments. A freedom moment is when an idea jumps off of a page or wraps around your face and changes the course of everything you do. And in that book called Enemy Called Average, John Mason said, I came a point in time in my life where I realized I would rather spend time by myself than those that are not going towards their dreams and goals. And I just started bombarding myself, guys. I mean, literally, I was consuming a book a week. and just started realizing, man, you know what? I do have a purpose. There is a reason here. Found some of my superpowers, and my biggest part right now is doing what I'm doing now, just sharing my failures, sharing the things that I've been through, and just hoping that it might give somebody just another day to say yes. Right. So.
Well, it's interesting to see that when you make comments about, you'd rather be solo or alone, right? And that's kind of like one of the biggest fear factors, I think, for humanity as an individual. Most people don't like to be alone, I think, for the most part, right? I think that solitude or solidarity or being alone, isolated, it's a fear that most, and maybe because they're afraid of seeing who they really are. I think a lot of that maybe is that too. Maybe you start to discover things that you really don't like or you don't want to know.
Yeah.
And you bring things out of the closet that you don't want to come out of the closet. And that's, we understand another thing is product of your environment, right? The way you grew up. And your conversation that you're having right now, Joseph, about you in the beginning having self-doubt, lack of belief in who you were and your abilities. You set standards for yourself, right? Our standards are what we believe we deserve. And, that obviously comes from some childhood issues and stuff that you grew up in your environment, as myself and probably Ross too. The three of us, we both can agree and raise our hands to that. But I think, man, 99% of people in the world will constantly live in that fear of, number one, being alone. So they'll never be alone, and they'll constantly be against a group. And sometimes that group, like you said, were people that had zero commonality with the direction you're trying to go.
Yeah.
Like the averages, right? And you wonder why you grow up, put your head down and do this thing. And then you wake up, lift your head up, and you're like 45 years old. And you're like, wow, how did I get here? Why am I in this place in my life? Why am I not advanced farther because of that? Yeah. So I love that point, because I'm with you, Joseph. I'm 100%, and Ross is too. I love personal development. I love self-care. 1,000% you need to plug into yourself. I would rather be alone and get on this journey to figure myself out than to try to plug into people that are not positive chargers in my life and become myself.
Right? Well, my a friend of mine, Phil, I've known him for many, many years. Phil's girlfriend dropped some wisdom. Now it's his wife. And I never forgot. Amy, which is Phil's wife, said, Phil, I'm a really happy woman. So I need to be happier being with you, or this isn't going to work. You know what I mean? And when you spend enough time dating yourself, right? You've dated yourself. You've been alone sometimes. So have I, right? Mm-hmm. You're looking for somebody that's going to make you happier than wherever you already are, right? You know what I mean? Because when you find, and that goes for intimate relationships with a husband or wife, or that even goes with like friendships. Chris, in our world, we have some relationships that we couldn't even live without. The relationships that we develop now are just amazing, because these are people that like speak life into us. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't speak to us as we are, speak us as we can be, so we can do what we need to be, so.
But how many of us actually go in life and look for the external solution to fix our internal problem?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Instead of, like you just said, Joey, I want to find something or someone, whether it's a significant other or a friend, a colleague, a mentor, someone that is going to make me better than I am today. Yes. But that's a very complex, diverse comment there, because people will take that as, I'm dysfunctional, I'm messed up, I'm screwed up, I'm just like really a hot mess. Who's going to help fix me and put these pieces together? Nobody is. Yeah. It's your job to put your piece together first, and then you find somebody that helps you shine better.
Yeah, I'm a hot mess myself. I'm going to be honest with you. But that's okay. And that's okay, because every day I'm like, you know what? I just need to keep moving forward. Just yesterday I sold a ton of my stock so I could pay all my debt off, because I want to be debt free. I want to have no bad debt, right? And man, I'll tell you, writing checks, I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars. My wife started talking to me about it. I started filling up with anxiety. She said, honey, what's wrong? I said, I have no idea. I mean, I literally had, just yesterday alone, I had like 50 grand that went through my hands paying off debt. And I had to go back and just like, man, what's all the anxiety? What's all the fear? I came from an upbringing where my mom was really, really poor, Ross, I mean, to the point where they were like begging for food back in the old country in Portugal. So somewhere down the road, there's that scarcity, that poverty mindset. But man, it's just, you know what? Listen, if we want to be a better impact in the world, we just got to be willing to look inside of ourselves and figure out what part of what's going on in our life is holding us back from being what we want to be. I mean, there's people that are going to tune into this piece right now, Chris, because you and Ross's obedience to doing this. People are going to be on here with the thought of quitting, of not wanting to move forward. And because we're doing this, because we're going to meet, because this video is going to help more people than we ever meet, it's when we share. It's when we share the struggles that we have, which what does it do? It gives people lifelines of possibility. Yesterday, I realized I still have anxiety around money, and I don't really have to work, guys. I don't work for money anymore. Money's not my motivator. Really, it's not. My current, the currency I work for now is just changing people's lives, right? That's the currency. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, money will follow. But I was like, why am I so freaking anxious? People should be happy that I should be happy that I have stocks to sell to be able to pay off debt. But somewhere in my upbringing, that there's a spirit of poverty, or it's just a poverty mindset that like, oh my gosh, should I really let this go?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, thanks for the transparency, Joseph, on that. I think that's such a valid point. Chris talks about it all the time, our social heredity, the things that we were raised with, the ideas and thoughts and beliefs that we hold on today that necessarily are not ours to hold on to. And it's so great to hear you talk about that, because here you are at a place in your life where, you like you said, money's not the motivator, but yet this still had almost like a stronghold on you.
Yes.
It was creating anxiety. It was all these things. And, and I love the Bible, and I'm going to reference it because I think it's a good moment for it. But it says the only way that you can tie a strong man up and plunder his house is first by tying the strong man up. And how do we do that? With fears, anxieties, thoughts, beliefs, all these things, right? And so, here you were identifying like, hey, wait, why is this tying me up right now? Why does this, having this emotion? And it's truly this idea that, one, we're so solely responsible for everything, and that this bigger picture isn't there to guide us, lead us, train us, and actually get us to that next direction, right? It's kind of like, that Noah faith. Right. Everyone was probably looking at Noah while he was building the ark. Like, what are you doing? What's coming? And he's like, no, man, I know what's in here and what's happening in the future. And there's a part of belief there that you have to hold on to let go of what people are saying, to let go of the present. And so, man, I love that about your story, and the fact that you're even saying now, hey, man, I might be here at this level of success. However, I am still battling with some things from the past, or these ideas, because sometimes we look at entrepreneurs that are successful like yourself and we think they got it all figured out. There's no way Joseph struggles with anything, right?
Well, Chris said it earlier, about humility is a trait that I really desire to have, because humility is a weapon. When you're humble, you can see everything you need to see. When you're not humble, there's blind spots all over the place. I tell my 12-year-old son, you know who it is, Chris, you met Joseph before. I tell him all the time right now, hey, don't ever show off. Every time Daddy's ever showed off my whole life, something's went wrong. Something went wrong. You know what I mean? Backfire. Right? It always backfires. You pop a wheelie around the women, you end up falling on your face. You do a Bernie, you end up freaking crashing your car against a parking block or something like that. But going back to what I'm saying is, when you're really willing to go and do that self-examination, we're doing it because we want to advance. I want to advance humanity, buddy. I mean, that's really where it is. Mm-hmm. We talked about faith earlier. Anytime in front of an audience, or even one individual, one person, there's something that individual needs, right? Mm-hmm. Guys, let's face it. The world right now, the world's in a disaster for the most part, unless you have direction. Unless you're going after something, man, I mean, the distractions that are out there, people believe they have a second chance at life, because if they didn't, man, they would be making some bigger and different decisions that they are making now. You know what I mean? I really believe that.
Yeah. I back that 100%. I think it's all about timing and where we're at in life right now. It's very timely that you're having this conversation, because I don't know one person that probably is not going through something, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, something, right? And if they want to pretend that they're not, then obviously we know they're lying, and then there's a bigger problem. Because I think awareness is key. Being aware is the first mountain you climb. Second is actually figuring out what to do with it. And all three of us in this call have had some backgrounds that we've had mountains to climb, And we've become very well aware of our surroundings and very aware of who we are and very aware of what we need to do.
Yeah.
And I will say this, that it's never going to be a place in which we're like, okay, we're done. Let's close this book off. We fixed that chapter of being screwed up. It's never going to affect me ever again. No, Joey just affected you the other day, writing checks yesterday. I mean, that's going to haunt you again in 5 years or whatever. It's not going to go away.
Yeah.
It's how you actually handle that and keep a lid on it and manage it is the key. So it doesn't manage your life, you manage it. And I think a lot of people in this world are allowing their circumstances, their environment, their situations manage them to the point in which most of them become paralyzed and don't see their self-worth, don't believe they're worthy. And so you see 99% of people, why you have people at the bottom and you have a 1% that's actually successful.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting is when I think about what you said earlier, you asked me, Ross, what was the big shift for me, right? It was reading and bombarding. Guess what? Every book I read was a solution that was a solution that the author wanted to offer. Every one of them, right? Yeah. Might have a solution when it comes to finance and spiritual. The Bible is a solution on how to live life without regret, how to live life with forgiveness, right? But I think if all of us would just stop and realize that we are born at a time right now, we are called to be a solution to the world, a problem in the world. We all are called to be a solution. You are Chris, you are Ross, I am, we are, right? We're called to be a solution. So what solution is it? This podcast, I want to go back again. This podcast is going to be solutions to people's problems.
Yeah.
Where they're at.
Only if they're open to it, though, Joseph, right? The key is that they got to be open.
You know what? I hear you, but here's the thing. You know, it takes 16 positive messages to override one negative.
Yeah.
16 positive messages. So you know what? We just speak it and speak it and speak it. Like, Lord, what do you want me to say in that podcast? What information do I need to do? And you know what? It just you end up talking about things like, I can tell you right now, none of us on this podcast thought we were going to go where we're at. Yes or no?
Come on.
We didn't know that, right?
Yeah.
So for those of you that are listening, don't stop trying. Don't stop turning over rocks. Chris, Ross, myself, we're here for you. We want to be a solution to where you're at right now.
How many times, though, people that are listening to this, though, are going to say, well, you can do it, Joseph. Well, you can do it, Ross. Well, you can do it, Chris, because you're already there. I'm at ground zero at stage one, level one, floor one, and I have all this mountain to climb. It's like, right? So that you have that desire, that drive, that why to even get to where we're at. Because you're right, Joseph. Every one of us did not know we would be where we're at today.
No.
Yeah.
No.
To something in ourselves to actually go to get to here blindly because I had zero idea. It wasn't like I had this magic 8-ball that wrote, hey Chris, if you keep doing this in 6 months you're gonna have that. Okay, I'll do it then. But then if you don't have that, then where's that blind faith? So, and you guys are both huge men of faith. I am too. I pretend like I'm not. I have my levels of it. You guys have more. And I respect that thoroughly.
So can I get really raw and share a short little story that I think will help anyone that
real talk, Joseph. You can get as real as you want.
So when I was misdiagnosed when I was 23 years old. I had a doctor that misdiagnosed me with a fatal illness. I'll tell you what that is in a minute. And he told me exactly. He says, I think you have this. Watch out for this. So from that point on, I had never used drugs, alcohol ever before until this moment that he gave me some news that I didn't have the ability to grab a hold of. Mm-hmm. So I went down to 5 years, guys. I mean, drugs, alcohol, every addiction you could possibly manage just to cope with what it was. I came out of it. And now the cat's out of the bag. I was misdiagnosed with HIV, 5-year period. 5-year period. But you know what? I'm so thankful for that 5-year period. Let me tell you why. You know how many people are misdiagnosed every day with limiting beliefs? How many of their family members, friends, and people around them, even media, misdiagnose them, tell them they can't do this, they can't do that? Does that make sense? All of us have that. Yeah. We've all been misdiagnosed to one part of it, right? But I'm so thankful for all of that. I'm so thankful for all of it. So for those of you that are listening, guys, Chris knows where it's at. He's been diagnosed with limiting beliefs in the past. Karas, you have too. I have too. Every day we're like, is that really true about me?
Yeah.
You know, is that really true? I believe the more raw we get, the more we can help more people. You know,
it's so true. And really in anything in life too. When you think about it, I remember as I was building a team, some of the agents I was training would say, well, that's easy for you to say because you've sold so many houses. Well, it's like, well, guys, I also started on a team and was new like you too, right? And with anything, right? Whether it's speaking, well, that's easy, Joseph, because you know how to speak. Well, Joseph, I'm assuming you probably had to go on a stage where you never spoke before and had to do it, right? And these limited beliefs are so limiting that they convince the person believing it that the person that's doing it better than you got the instruction manual and figured it all out right then and there. And that's not the truth. The limited belief is so limited because there is no true belief that you can't do it. It's just all in your head. It's literally all in your head.
Yes. Well, I remember traveling. I was trying to get into a TV pilot called Monstars of Motivation. I tried out 3 times. One of the times I drove all the way to Los Angeles, and I had my talk all worked out. I got on stage, and nothing came out of my mouth.
Jeez.
Nothing. I just paced back and forth in front of like hundreds of people. Nothing came out of my mouth. I'm not kidding you. I didn't even mutter a word. They introduced me, and I just went back and forth, back and forth. But at that point, no, seriously, guys, I love
that. Yeah.
20, I was probably like 27, 28 at the time. 27, 28. Not 16 or 17,
Yeah.
So I always say if people want what you have, Ross, then they got to do what you did.
Yeah.
They want what you want, Chris, they got to do what you did to get where you're at.
That is such a great point. You know how many times I've called Chris after we've done a podcast, like, dude, we'll have a guest on and he'll maybe say, well, Ross, what do you think about that? And my mind will go blank and I'll be like, Chris, save me. I need help here. And I'll joke with him and I'll be like, man, that was so uncomfortable. But then he'll remind me, brother, these are the reps. These are the things you have to do. You have to do the uncomfortable. You have to keep pursuing it, which goes hand in hand with not only what you said about you going blank on stage and keep doing it, but also you want to be surrounded by people that are telling you who you are rather than what you think you are.
Yes. Oh yeah, because I would have quit. Honestly, I would have.
So let's jump in real quick here and kind of the story, your background. I love it, Joseph. Amazing. Obviously, I think this is very, very impactful and very robust. It helps out. I think it's a lot. It's packed. I mean, literally packed, right, of opportunities and options. Real estate career, Keller Williams for how many years at KW?
I was with Remax for 5 years. My production was around 3 million or so, and then I went to Keller Williams after that. And I was with Keller Williams for 10 years. My top years were between 20 and 25 million. I did that for a little while and until I just got burnt out and divorced and family fell apart and just wanted to rebuild, want to do something differently. And now I'm run a team now in 13 states right now in 3 countries. And nobody pinch me and wake me up because I feel like I'm living my dream right now. And I at least feel like I'm getting started, honestly.
You say thank you, EXP, right? Because that's what your is, right? The next thing was like,
buddy, it's
and how long?
Life, Chris.
Right? As all 3 of us in this call have. And again, this full disclosure, it's not an EXP unload, but really it is. I'm excited. I'm happy about where I'm at in life. I couldn't have been in a better place. I mean, shoot, I'm freaking able to get up and move my entire life 3,000 miles across the Pacific Ocean to be here in a place that most people spend their entire or half their year trying to visit for a week or 2 weeks, right? I live here. And it's amazing, miracle, magical, and a blessing all above. But so let's talk about that. EXP, so Keller Williams, 10 years, Remax, and you really, really thrived well in Keller Williams because we'll be honest, KW has a lot of great systems, a lot of great things to apply to your business to help you get and scale. And then you were introduced to EXP, what year was that?
I started January 1st of 2018. No, January 1st, 2019.
19. Okay. Yeah, I remember you coming on board. It was exciting. Good to see you guys. And I think you and Cooper kind of came over at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Cooper too, an amazing rock star in our area. And now, what were the draws of you, I mean, you got a 20-something, 2-decade career in real estate. So for those that are listening, like, you have some clout in this. Like, you have some back. You know what's going on. It's not like you started real estate yesterday. What were some of the draws and the attractions to you to see EXP any different than Keller Williams? I mean, you're doing, other than what you said, $25 million in volume and burnt.
I mean, the model provides so many solutions. And I think a lot of people with EXP, when they go and they try to share the model with other people, they share it in tunnel vision of like, oh, this is why you got to come. This is why you got to come. The EXP model has so many solutions to so many problems in real estate and in life, period. But I saw it as a platform to get my message out. I saw it as a platform to use my superpower, which is training and coaching. I saw it as a platform to reach more people. I always wanted a brokerage, right? I always wanted a brokerage, my own brokerage. I just didn't think it was going to look this way.
Yeah.
But everything with Remax and Keller Williams prepared me for where I'm at now.
Right.
And it's just EXP pays me, number one, to sell real estate, and pays me to help other people. I mean, literally, I wake up every day saying, is there an agent in the brokerage community that I can help? Or is there an agent in my community that I can help? And the last question is there a buyer or seller for me to help out there? And eventually that last question is probably going to fall by the wayside. I'm not going to do that anymore. The agent is an amazing customer. I love the agent as a customer. And they need us right now, especially how turbulent the market is. They need it. So
whether they know it or not, 100%.
Yeah.
The proposition behind that, that's impactful. If you can let your ego down, most people, it's like an ego risk. It's more than anything else. If you can let the ego down and open yourself up to opportunity, then there's obviously something to type of conversation on. So now you've been here for 18, 19, 20, 5 years? 5 years, right? Yeah, 5 years at EXP. Obviously, you're loving it. And that's probably an understatement because it really does fall in alignment to what you, like you said, your passion is helping people in these lives. And now you got a group organization that you've built here. You said you got a team you're running that's in how many states?
13. It'll be 14 soon. I got, actually, when I'm done here in 7 minutes, I got a meeting with someone in Oregon that has 5 agents.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'll be in Oregon. So it'll be 14 states, hopefully by the end of today.
I love it. I will bless that. It's going to happen. We're going to manifest it. Say you'll be 15. You'll be 15.
Yeah.
So we're good there. And so, your career now is flourished. It's been leveraged. You'll be able to scale it, which, again, those that are listening, I believe I talk about this all the time. I'm like you, Joseph. I've always wanted to have a brokerage, not necessarily a brokerage, but I wanted the components that came with the brokerage, the perks, which was the leverage and scalability that I would be able to do that I couldn't do within my own personal real estate business. And honestly, a brokerage would be the way out for that, traditionally speaking. But now, as we look forward to where things are at, it's actually more a thing of the past. I mean, the independent brokerage and the franchise model is dead. I'll say it again, it's dead. And you can argue all you want about it, but it's dead. The margins to run those models no longer can compete with what we do today. And it just doesn't make sense financially, economically, or scalability-wise. So here we are now. EXP is an opportunity for you to grow. What is your forecast, future pace out? What are you looking to do? How many lives are you looking to impact? What's this look like for you now?
Oh, buddy, how many lives? Millions of lives is my goal. My goal is to have a jam-packed funeral. It really is. I want the news stations to be, tuning in on the jam-packed funeral of me, of stories of people I've touched lives. So I probably say our goal is to have 50,000 agents in our group.
Okay, 50 or 15?
50.
Right.
50. Absolutely.
It caught me a little Freudian slip. 50. 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
hey, if I make it to 40,000, I'm not going to be mad.
No, right?
You know what I mean?
I mean, if you make it 30, you're still not going to be mad. But, the reality is it's totally possible. So this is not like some wild, like out of this earth dream. It's totally possible because people are already working towards that direction right now. There's millions of licensees all over the world, which means that your ability to pull from that is untouchable. You can do anything you want. So yes, I strongly believe, Joseph, you're going to have 50,000 people in the next 5 years, you said?
No, by the end of my career.
In your career. Okay. All right. And I think it's going to happen. I just do, because I firmly believe that you're a man of action. And I call you all the time too. Like, hey Joey, we go over things. You're always like, Chris, and he holds me accountable. Joseph always holds me accountable. He's like, Chris, come on, man, let's just do this. I'm like, I know. And I'm always like, oh, Joseph, well, we're going to do this. Okay, yeah. So I even fall off the freaking ledge in the chair, and I fall on the ground. And Joseph's got to pick me up, pull the chair back up. Come on, Chris, let's do this. So I love you for that, Joseph. I mean, you've always been there. I appreciate you and your friendship, and your ability to plug in. It's huge. So,
heck yeah.
And your story is amazing too. Not to mention of where you at. I love the story of the come up. Because I think everybody is in this ground level state of their life, but the come up story is the most rewarding story because one, it sets the tone and the pace that it's possible for anybody. I really, this frustrates me. I'll say this right now. This frustrates me when people always talk about, man, you're good at where you're at because the way you are. You're good at where you're at because you got the right time. You did it in the right time. This thing's the wrong time. It's such a freaking excuse. I'm tired of hearing that because any time is the right time. It's all.
I was just telling my 12-year-old today because he's straight A's. He's in football and baseball. And if you ever meet him right now, if he was sitting next to me, he would try to elaborate so you understood what I was saying because he feels like he has to explain for me. He's just a leader, and I, his mom was telling me the other day, it'd be great if he gets a full ride scholarship because of baseball. And I told him today, I said, it's not about the full ride scholarship to baseball. Can I tell you what it's about? He goes, what? I said, if you follow your passion, what you're absolutely passionate about, everything else will fall into place.
That's right.
And we're successful because we followed our passion. That's why we're successful. Not because of who we are, not because of our makeup. It's because we're passionate. We're so passionate. And people, there's so many people that haven't found what they're passionate about. And I think it has to do with just following other people. I tell my son all the time, if you don't figure out how to be a leader, I can't help you. I can't help you. I don't, you know what I mean? So, but people first have to learn how to lead their own lives. And the first thing they have to ask themselves is, what are you passionate about?
Yeah.
What are you passionate about? Follow your passion. Real estate is our passion. Is it real estate for us or is it changing lives?
Well, it's changing lives for me.
It's changing lives.
Changing lives.
I'm passionate about changing lives. Period.
Yeah. The real estate is more of a linear piece. The changing lives is more exponential for me. It's more of a grander scale, a bigger picture, a bigger meaning, a bigger drive, a bigger one.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like at that point when you get to that level of helping people and that's your goal, there's never ever a ceiling ever there. Where if you look in real estate, honestly, there gets to be a point where there's a ceiling. I mean, other than you going and doubling your production next year and then doubling it again the year after.
Yes.
Awesome. Congratulations. Good for you. But I know you doing that means that you don't sleep either. You don't see your significant other. You probably don't eat the right meals. You don't work out. You probably got a healthy, unhealthy diet. I mean, come on.
Yes.
You sacrifice every part of your life to even keep doing that. And it's only a linear business. There's no real gratification there. You burn out.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
I'm not going
Hey, guys. I love you guys.
I know. Joseph, I appreciate
Joseph, yeah. Thank you for your time, man. Nice meeting you. It was so great.
Nice meeting you too. Sorry, I got to run, Chris.
No, your story's compelling. Always amazing, the story. For those who are listening, we appreciate you listening. And again, every week we bring value and hot topics and things like this. So hopefully you were able to take something from this and make it a part of your life. So until next week, we love you all. Stay plugged in, go out and crush it and enjoy your life.